Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Masoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journeys, encouraging folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Join us as we explore the journeys of women entrepreneurs in the food and beverage industry. Hello and welcome to Masoni and Marshall, the Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journeys of female food entrepreneurs. We are glad you joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce.
And Sarah Masoni of Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center. How's it going, Sarah?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm so good today.
Anything new going on at the Food Innovation Center?
Well, we have a new director of the center. I'm so excited. We have Marcia Walker. She's joined us from industry, and she's now active, helping our teams and getting involved with her feet in the fire.
Nice. I haven't met her yet, but I'm sure I will. Will she be at the holiday show?
She will be here on the 7th,
perfect.
but I think we should have her as guest, don't you?
I think so. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No, we should. I'm going to ask her. Let me write that in my notes for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yes.
That'd be so fun. I'm sure she'd love it.
She would love it.
Well, we want to thank our sponsors for supporting Masoni and Marshall. Thank you for helping us spread the word about female entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, Market of Choice.
Market of Choice is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace because we believe in the power of local food entrepreneurs, so much so that we carry more than 7,000 locally made, raised, farmed, and harvested foods in our stores. Our passion is to help local makers, farmers, ranchers, and fisher folks realize their potential through programs that help them succeed. We love you, Market of Choice.
Thanks, Market of Choice. We appreciate you so much.
Yes.
We have been checking in with some of our past guests to see if anything new and exciting has been going on. And we are joined today with Andrea Ludlow of Showstopper Cookies. Welcome, Andrea.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome back. We haven't talked to you since March of 2021. So it's been a while. And when we first talked with you, you were just starting out your business. If people want to listen to that show, it's episode 69. You can look it up on iTunes and hear it. But we want to make sure to connect people to you and your biz if they hadn't heard that show. So what's the best way to find you on Instagram and online?
On Instagram, I am Showstopper Cookies, and online website is showstoppercookies.com.
Perfect. And so last time that we chatted with you, you were very new. You had just started your business. So let's tell people about when you started and when that was, because I think it was like right before we chatted.
Yeah, it was. I think it was September of 2020. So yeah, I was just about 6 months old when I first was on here.
That's a baby.
And yeah. So I learned so much from you both that has guided me to where I am now, honestly. So I appreciate.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that was the thing when you had written to us, you had just started listening to the show and were going to ask us a couple of questions. And we were like, let's just do it live. Just come on the show.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm glad that was helpful for you. But let's talk about, just in case people didn't listen to that first show, let's tell people what it is that you make.
So
what's special about it?
My business is based on one perfect cookie, and I do special orders, but primarily I make one cookie, which is a pretty big salted chocolate chip cookie. I think what's special about it is I use really good ingredients. So the chocolate is Guittard, and I use two kinds, two different sizes. I now use locally milled flour. That was not the case when I first started. So that is something special as well. And my own vanilla that I make. And I think I have perfected this recipe. And so that is why I decided to just have the one cookie.
I think that's so fun because now, just even in you describing your business, you sound so much more sure of your product and what you're doing, and you know that you make the best perfect cookie. And I love that because that is sort of what happens after you do something for a while. You can have some confidence behind it, where when you first start, you're like, I don't know, and maybe I'll do this, and I'm not quite sure.
Right.
And you've been able to refine some of your ingredients to what you want. So that's very cool. I'm digging it.
Me too. Can you tell us how many cookies you've made since you first started? Do you have
Oh
any
my
idea?
gosh. I don't know. That would be great to know. Thousands for sure.
Thousands. Wow.
Yeah, thousands. And before coming on here, I had not even occurred to me to freeze the dough. That was something I learned from you, Sarah. And
Oh,
now
nice.
I've successfully figured out how to freeze it and thaw it, and it bakes up just fine. So that has changed everything, of course, because I don't need to just be making the dough as orders come in or as I'm doing markets.
Yeah,
So yeah, thousands for sure.
good. That's good to hear. So every week, how many cookies are you making then? Do you have an
Well, it
idea?
depends on the season. So from May to October, I'm usually doing at least one farmer's market, sometimes more, and sometimes also Portland Flea or the night market or one of those other maker markets. So, if I'm doing more than one, it could be 600-ish cookies or more.
Per week. That's
per,
great.
per week. Yeah. And then there's a little bit of a lull from October until the holidays, and then another lull from, January to spring, which I don't mind the lulls. That's okay. And I'm working on, the business model of what to do during those lulls if I do mind them, and finding new opportunities. I still feel like I am in the infancy of this business and still learning so much.
I saw that you make a gigantic cookie. Has anyone ever used that for a birthday cake?
Yes, lots of people. And that was really born of a frequent customer asking if I would make that. And I was like, sure, I'll try that. And then I put it on Instagram, and then people started ordering it. And so that's my latest. I just added that to the website probably less than a month ago as a thing you could actually officially order.
That's cool.
That's so fun. I like that idea. Well, we always like, especially new businesses, to be able to listen to the show and get advice from people who have started out. So do you have advice for anybody who's just starting out a business?
Ask a lot of questions from everybody you meet everywhere. I mean, every market I've done, the vendor next to me, no matter what, even if it's not food, even if it's, I just ask them questions about what markets they've done. I've asked people like you all, like just everyone I meet, I'm asking a lot of questions, and I've learned so much. And then I think be friendly with error and begin again, keep trying, and keep asking. Like, I feel like I've asked for so many favors or so many things that could improve my business or grow my business, not knowing whether people would say yes or no. And you don't know unless you ask.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I still kind of use that advice in my business all the time. That it never really hurts to ask anything. Ask anybody for help, ask anybody if where they source things, if they've heard of certain things. Like I think it's always important. And I think, we're so lucky to have such a great supportive food community here, that I think that if we all continue to do that, we can just keep helping to support one another. So I think that's really nice.
One of the things we're kind of wondering about, since you were on with us during COVID, is I know your business was new, but what really changed since those COVID years to now? Anything?
Yeah, everything. I mean, I don't think when I had come on, I don't think I had done any markets. I was just an online business. And I don't even know if I was planning on doing any markets. I don't even know if I knew what that world was. So since then, I have done like every market Portland has and learned so much from each one and which ones are a good fit and which ones maybe aren't. And just even learning recently about the outdoor ice skating rink that's going to be opening, just really using my resources to find out how to contact them and ask if I could vend and apply, but just feeling like, oh, that would be such a good fit for me. So I think I've grown my business as far as doing in-person markets, vending at local events, farmers markets, maker markets. And then also another thing I've done, which I'm going to do again the week after Thanksgiving, is advertised on a podcast with a national audience. And that was an example of, it was a podcast I listened to that I was a fan of. I had gifted them cookies and they liked them. And then I said, I have no idea what the cost of this is, but can I do a one-off advertisement on your podcast? And they said yes. And
that's great.
Exploded my business. And I'm hoping it will do it again in a couple of weeks. So that was not in place when I talked with you all last. I'm also working on getting more corporate accounts. So that's something that I would really like to do more. And I don't think I had done any of that. I don't think I'd really done anything when I first talked with you, except built a website and started selling cookies and trying to spread the word. I still think I'm learning about that, how to get more people to know about it for sure.
So that people can hear the ad that you have on the podcast. Can you tell us what podcast that was so they can go and listen to it?
Yeah, it's called Ask Rana is the name of the podcast. The first advertisement is probably, I don't know which episode it is, but it's about a year ago. And then it will be on again. Her podcast is on Tuesdays. So it'll be on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Perfect. So we'll make sure to link it so people can go and find it.
Okay.
That's cool. The power of the podcast.
Yeah.
I know. We all have to support each other. The podcast world, even though there's so many podcasts, I feel like it becomes just like our food community. It becomes a very supportive community really quickly where people try to, get other people to listen, especially if there's guests that are kind of the same. And I just think it's a really nice thing to do to help promote each other as well.
Some of our listeners might be thinking about starting a farmer's market booth. Do you remember how many cookies you brought to your very first farmer's market, and did you sell out?
I probably overbaked. I don't remember. I think so. The very first farmer's market I did was the Moreland Market in Selwood, which I still am. I've done that 3 years. I really love that community. And I probably made 300 cookies the first market. And I don't think I sold out, but I think I did pretty good. The first market, I had so many friends and family coming to support me because it was a new big deal. But it went well. I don't remember if I sold out, but I think I brought about 300 cookies.
I think having friends and family go to wherever you're first selling something and buy your product is a great idea. I'm 100% in favor of that.
Yeah, sometimes friends and family are your only customers in the beginning. I think my first sale was at an Eagles Lodge and my booth fee was $12. And I think I knew almost everybody there, but then also there's a lot of like bikers, like motorcycle bikers that are part of the Eagles. Yeah, it's closed now, but it was that one.
That was sad that it closed.
Yeah, and so then I had a nice biker following for a while, which was very fun. You never know who your next customers are going to be, but I loved those guys. They would like come see me at other shows and stuff. It was so nice.
They'd like, oh, Sarah Marshall's going to be in Hillsborough. Let's ride our bikes over there.
They sure would. It's very, very fun. So what's your favorite event to do these days, Andrea? What's your favorite market?
Well, I think Moreland Market is my favorite because it's been so consistent, and now I have a community there. I have repeat customers. I'm friends with the other vendors. We do a ton of trade. I don't have to go grocery shopping. I do all of my grocery shopping at the market. And so I like going to that market for so many reasons. It's a really supportive market. Lonnie, who is the person who organizes that market, likes to tell the story of worrying that my cookies wouldn't be a good fit because it's just one cookie, and she thought I would need variety, but she tasted the cookie and thought it was good enough to try. And she's so happy that she took a chance because it's been a really successful partnership. So the Moreland Market is my favorite. The other markets that I've done have been so up and down. I might really like those markets, but it's just been, and I've done them all. I've done Crafty Wonderland, Portland Flea, the Night Market, the Moon Market, the Slabtown Outdoor Market. I feel like I've just done them all. I'm about to do the assemblage one, which is in Rejuvenation. I'm doing that coming up, starting, I think, on the 3rd of December for a couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that one.
That's cool. Have you ever tried putting ice cream between your perfect chocolate chip cookies?
I have. I haven't figured out how to sell that at a market, but it's been done in my home.
That sounds good.
You know, Sarah's the ice cream lady, so of course she would ask you that question.
Stands to reason.
Well, we like to talk about what it's like to be a business owner right now and what you need from your community. So that can be just anybody listening, but what's a good way for people to support you?
Well, I think buy cookies is the best way.
That's always good.
And then tell if you know people that are own businesses and are giving gifts for the holidays to their employees, to spread the word that way so that they can reach out to me and buy cookies in larger amounts. I think tell people about the cookies and buy them are really the best two ways.
I have an idea for you. Have you thought about making your cookies with the See's Candies chocolate chips?
No, I have not.
Because those are guitarred.
Oh, Oh, they are? Oh. So they're See's candy, but they're guitarred?
They have, that's the chocolate that they partner with. Yep.
Yeah, but then you would be bringing in two very well-known companies. And so it might be a good way to
co-brand.
Yeah. You know, 'cause they could repost about it and stuff.
Yep, they do stuff like that. And something that might be crazy would be if you just did like Scotch mallow cookies or something, where you take whatever their thing is, their feature of the month, and then you could put that in a cookie. Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be crazy.
It could just be, I don't know, something fun to do.
Yeah, you never know. I'm open to all things. I find that on Instagram, sometimes it feels like I'm screaming into the void. That although I'll post some interesting things and people will repost them, it doesn't necessarily seem to translate into sales, which is obviously the ultimate goal. And so, if I tag guitarred or if I tag the flower that I'm using, it doesn't feel like it necessarily translates. I think I may have been a few years too late in the Instagram being a place where people could really build a business.
Well, if you tag them, I think don't you have to be connected with them for it to show up somehow? I think you do.
It just depends. Yeah, it depends. So, because sometimes it's like, it becomes like a paid thing. So they'll ask you if you're like, if you want to promote it or whatever, but it's always a little bit different. But I think it's always good to partner with people if you think your values align, so if you feel like that would be a good one, then
good, try it.
Yeah.
Have you had to hire any employees?
No, and I hope to keep it that way.
Okay.
In my former life, I managed many people, and I hope to not do that again. Although I will say, recently, in trying to figure out some online stuff, I was thinking it would be really nice to have somebody who knew more than me, so I didn't just have to drudge through it. So finding somebody who could do kind of SEO stuff or Instagram stuff or a delivery driver, those feel like would be the first things to give away that feel easy. But so far I've managed to not hire someone, and I feel good about that so far.
Yeah, and the things you're saying are kind of like you can do it as like contract work, like
Right.
Unless you're a big company, you wouldn't necessarily have somebody who does in-house website stuff. Like you would just hire somebody to do a one-time thing, or even as far as Instagram or doing like social media stuff. Sometimes you can pay someone to just build out things for you, and then they give you a schedule and then you post it, but you would just contract with them for like one job.
Yeah.
Which is a nice way to do it, because then you're not responsible for employees.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, we should take a break. And when we come back, why don't we talk about distribution? Sarah Marshall's the master of distribution.
Okay.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together. All right. So, Andrea, have you heard about the Red and some of the delivery systems we have here in the Portland area?
No, I don't. How do you spell the Red?
REDD, the Red. Yeah.
But it's not the building.
It is. Actually, They have don't they have the Beeline bikes for delivering around the city?
Yeah, they have a service that's called Beeline. And so Beeline will deliver to, all the new seasons through a program called Green Wheels. But they'll also deliver, to other places within the Portland area, and they do it by bike. So that is a nice option for local vendors to have.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit less than like going with a big company like your business is a little bit different because it's not like you're selling cases of cookies to
unless she got,
Safeway or something.
Yeah, but if she got corporate accounts like in big buildings and stuff around the city,
they could do that
would be
for
a
you.
Great way to deliver, since
Yeah.
you brought that up.
Right.
And then you don't have to go downtown and park or hire a delivery driver to do it. They can do something like that for you. So if you do get more corporate accounts, I would say for sure that would be a great service for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will
and
make a note of that.
Another marketplace that people are using is called Fair.
Okay.
And that could be a place where you would distribute your cookies through directly to the consumer.
Okay.
Sarah, are you using Fair?
I use Fair. So there would be some people on there that would order from you, but it would be more like, so Fair is kind of for local gift shops to be able to purchase something. It's also national. Like you can set up your account however you want. Like if you were like, I just want people to order from the Portland area, but there are places that I would think would use your service on there would be like, there's a lot of hospitals that are on there, like a hospital gift shop or a hospital cafeteria, or different coffee shops would be on there. And so that's how they would find you. But it's all categorized. So you would have like, I have this fresh product. I'm only, selling it locally, and then they would be able to find you that way. So that is a good way. But I think that it mostly gets used for, like somebody who has a bookstore or a candle shop and they want to add another line. Yeah, all the buyers are on there.
Got it.
So, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
Because they do have that option to just pick, local fresh distribution. So
yeah, and you could actually freeze the baked cookies and send them out frozen and give yourself an extra day on shelf life. So send them in a cooler and all that stuff.
I have one coffee cart that I work with that I do a wholesale with, and she freezes them. Yeah. But once they're thawed, I really feel like they need to be and maybe I overthink it, but it seems like once they've been frozen and thawed, you have about one day and then they get too crunchy. Whereas even if I ship them all the time. And even if they take 6 days to get to their destination, they are fresher than if they were frozen and thawed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that seems to be an obstacle for me as far as, because they're perishable. It feels like I had another coffee shop that I was working with, and they just weren't storing them properly, and then they were getting crumbly, and it didn't work. And so I've thought about retail and wholesale. And actually, one of you in our first podcast suggested that if I could avoid wholesale, I should.
Yeah, that was me for sure.
Appreciate it. Taking it to heart.
And I lose control of the quality for your type of product.
Totally.
Direct sales probably are better.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's hard with a fresh product like yours, even though you're figuring out ways to extend your shelf life, and that's really wonderful. But probably you doing in-person events really is your best marketing tool, because you're going to meet customers who are then going to purchase your product for parties or birthdays and do your bigger cookie and things like that. I think that that's that would be my advice continued, is just to, do it yourself and, sell it directly to your people. And now you're doing all kinds of in-person events. So that's like the best way to do it. I think my first couple of years, I did every event that ever came my way. Some say I still do that, but that's not true. I do have to say no to something.
Other people to go do the events now.
Yeah, from time to time, I do. Yeah.
I mean, usually this time of year, Sarah Marshall is so busy with every show because it's the holidays.
Yeah.
It's when people start buying stuff to give and special treats. Well, I was wondering if you've looked at the type of packaging that you're using to see if it is the right packaging for you to have maybe a day or two extra on your shelf life.
That is a great question. I think I've been riding the line between kind of sustainability and also the look that I'm going for, and then what you're saying, because I think if I wrapped each one in cellophane, they would stay fresher longer, but that's so much plastic. And I don't know. When I ship them, they're shipped in coffee bags, essentially, like brown craft coffee bags. And they stay fresh all the way. I mean, I ship them to the East Coast all the time, and they seem to stay fresh for the whole time they're en route. And then people can put them in Ziploc bags and keep them fresh for another week or so, or freeze them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have thought about not only freshness, but also the packaging is a bit rustic. I don't know if that's totally the right word.
It is rustic.
But if it was more like gift boxy and like fancy, if that would give me a better chance at, people sending them because they're not cheap, the cookies, but sending them as gifts, which they do a lot, but even more so.
Yeah. There's a fine line, isn't there?
Yeah, I think I have a suggestion for you of a place that you can at least check out and see options. So there's this company called Restaurantware, and they do eco-friendly packaging. So it's what we package our pasta in, and all their bags are made out of recycled cotton, and they look really nice. But the nice thing about this company in particular is you pay $15 for samples, and you can get as many samples as you want. So they have boxes, they have bags, they have whatever. You can just make a list of 20 different things that you think might work, and then they'll mail them to you for that $15, and then you can find your perfect bag or box and then order it. So it kind of takes the pressure off of being like, I have to order 300 of these and they might not work.
Right.
But they're all eco-friendly, so it kind of would fit with your values, and maybe there's something great on there, maybe there's not. I'm definitely not like sponsored by them or anything, but it was just a nice way for me to get a bunch of options without taking a financial risk.
Yeah. I don't think this was in place when I'm sure it wasn't, but I now include with every package a card that has the baked on date and the ingredients and information on how to store them so that when people get them, they can put them in a Ziploc or, whatever they want to do to make them last longer.
What if you had your own special cookie jar that you sold for your frequent cookiers, and they could get your cookies and put them in your jar?
That's amazing. I mean, I have thought about merchandise, tote bags, t-shirts, cookie jars. I haven't gone there yet because it just feels as though, do I want to venture into that realm before I feel like my sales are steady enough to, I know it can be a low investment, but I guess I just haven't done any of that yet, but I've thought about it for sure.
That would be cool, I think.
On that information card that you put in with every order, do you have a way for people to follow you online, like your Instagram or something?
So I give 2 cards. If you're at a market, the cards are pretty big. So I just have a little kind of business card that has my Instagram, and then it has a discount code, and they could just grab and take that at markets. But if you order them online, or if you get more than 6 at a market, it comes with 2 cards. One is that ingredient and storage card that I told you about, and I believe it has my website. And then the other one has it's a note card, so I can write a gift note if they're a gift from someone, or I just write thank you if it's for the person who ordered it, and then a place for a discount code as well. And they both have the website. They don't have the Instagram account, I don't think, although of course on the website there's a link. And like I said, I like the Instagram account because I get to post pictures of cute people eating cookies and of other things I make, but I don't know that the Instagram account has totally translated into more sales.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe Facebook. We have one client that's doing Facebook advertisements, and they've had as much as $5,000 a day in sales.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Can you imagine baking that many cookies?
No.
You'd have to make 1,200 cookies a day or shipping. I mean, that's just like,
yeah, that would be crazy.
There have been cookie companies that were doing, regionally here in Oregon, doing 10,000 cookies a day.
Wow.
For all direct, the big cookie, like monster cookie style cookies. So people love cookies.
Yeah.
It's true. I think people love cookies, and not everyone loves to bake cookies. So I think that your business will withstand the test of time, because people are always going to want someone else to bake them cookies.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
What do you think brings you the most joy in your business?
I think it's definitely that feeling of giving presents to people. Like, it feels as though even if somebody else is buying a present for somebody or they're buying it for themselves, it feels like I'm giving them a present, even though they're paying for it. That's, cookies make people feel happy. And so that's definitely my favorite part. And I think the Moreland Market has translated into, I just made a birthday cake. One of my customers, I believe, forgive me, Albie, he just had a birthday. I don't remember how old he turned, but he comes and sees me every week at the market. And then he asked his mom to ask me to make his birthday cake. And so I've been doing some of special orders of those things as well. And that kind of thing, like having him come over and pick up his birthday cake, that's just great. Love it.
That's so wonderful, because then you become part of your market customers' lives forever. You're part of their most special moments, their birthdays, their celebrations. That's like one of my favorite things about doing farmers markets. And it's why I never give that piece up, because I love to be there and be part of people's worlds.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, I saw on your website that people can do special orders from you. Mm-hmm. What other types of baked goods do you make for people?
So I'd say the most popular thing is cakes. I just made a wedding cake, and then I made this birthday cake. I've made a lot of other birthday cakes. People have ordered other kinds of cookies. I get a lot of requests for cookies without certain allergens, gluten-free or vegan or dairy-free, and I can do those. I think the one thing I want to be very clear with people is those are not Showstopper cookies. That's a different thing. And I usually don't want to make a chocolate chip cookie that's gluten-free or vegan because I want to make a different cookie that's vegan or gluten-free because I don't want to compare them with the cookie that I've worked so hard on. But I'm open to almost anything. I love baking. And so I feel like pies, I mostly say no to cupcakes just because I find them to be hard to make delicious. And also usually the people want them highly decorated. And so it's just a lot of work for the amount of money I could charge for them. So
yeah, they're fussy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, silence.
Well, I
Do you have
just
any
realized
questions for us?
Well, you've already said a bunch of stuff that I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this is being recorded because I didn't write it all down. I think I don't know if it was you all that also told me about the Pacific Northwest food, the Google group. I'm not going to say that has also been so invaluable. That community is so great. That's how I found out about because I wanted to get locally milled flour. And when I contacted some of the local companies, they were like, sure, if you order 400 pounds of flour. I was like, well, I can't do that. So I wrote to some other small bakeries that I had seen in that group. And they told me about a woman who does a flour exchange. It's just been so great to have the resources. That everyone's been so lovely and helpful. And I feel like a lot of that started with you all telling me about the resources 2.5 years ago. And so thank you for that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And for our listeners out there, what we're talking about is the Pacific Northwest Packaged Food Group. And if you want to join, you can just Google that, Pacific Northwest Packaged Food. And there's a little bit of an application to fill out, and it goes to Hannah, and then she approves it. And so it is a valuable resource for makers because it really just connects us with each other instantly. And so that's the real magic of that group, is that we can all be there for each other right away, no matter what anyone's question is. And so if you are a maker, I would suggest joining the group for sure.
Yeah. So, every question I've asked, I've gotten 15 answers right away. It's been so great.
Can you tell us, have you partnered with any other food entrepreneurs locally that you could kind of hang a hat on, or have you mostly just stuck with your own brand?
I think because the cookies aren't, it's just this one thing. It's hard to partner like, oh, we're trying this flavor, so we're collaborating with this brand. That hasn't really felt as much of a good fit for me. But what has happened is I've shared booths because my product has a pretty low, one cookie is now $4.25, but it used to be $3.50. And so to pay the large fees sometimes for the markets feels hard. So I have shared booths with other makers, both food related and not. And that has been a really lovely experience. Sometimes a market will pair me with someone, and sometimes I find the person to pair with. And also just to shout out again, just all the vendors at the Moreland Market. I haven't collaborated with any of them, but it's just such a lovely community. The farmers, everyone there just doing all the trades and feeling like this sense of everyone's in it together. So I'll shout out them. Dirt Rich Farm is my favorite. Like this woman, Allison, who does all of her farming herself, and I get all of my produce all spring and summer from her, and I never have to go to the market. So appreciative of that.
I know what I want to ask. Have you sent any cookies to any movie stars yet?
Yes. I have. So because of the podcast, the Ask Rana podcast, so that's a character that this woman plays, and she is a celebrity and is an actress, and she has guests on her podcast that are famous sometimes. And so last year around this time where I advertised, one of the people that she just bought the cookies for because she really liked them was Patton Oswalt. So I got to send him some cookies. And then her name is Jessica Chaffin. I've gotten to send her cookies and all of her friends. She bought so many cookies. And then I also sent Mark Maron some cookies at some point, and he talked about them on his Instagram. It's been a lot of podcasts. I sent this comedy writer named Bridger Weiniger some cookies. He also has a podcast.
That's
so,
cool.
so those, I can't think of anyone else. There's something in the works right now where I might be sending some cookies to some celebrities. I was reached out to by an organization, and they want to order a lot of cookies for a TV show. And so I don't know if I just be sending to crew or cast and crew, but I'm hoping to hear more about that in the next couple days.
That's what we call guerrilla marketing, when you get to do that stuff, because the word of mouth is the best. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think so. And I think that, we don't talk about it a lot on here, but I think that, podcasts really are a great way to instantly connect to very loyal fans, because sometimes when we do things, like even if we maybe pay for some kind of advertising, or we do something that we think it's going to generate a lot of sales, but then someone will just mention us on a podcast, and that is way more powerful than, than those other things that we work, spend hours like doing a photo or something like that, and then just somebody mentioning our brand that their fans are like, oh, this my person that I listen to every week likes this thing, so I want that thing too. It's just very powerful. So
absolutely,
maybe Andrea should apply to like the Great British Bake Off or something.
Well, I can't be on the British one because I'm not British, but I am a loyal fan of that show. It's the best part of my week. But they have had American ones, and I have considered it. I've
Sarah
also
Marshall
been trying.
Sarah Marshall says always go for it.
Yeah, totally.
Give it a go.
Trying all these different ways to get to Martha Stewart in hopes that eventually that will happen. And I have some loose connections, but it hasn't happened yet.
You can just DM her on Instagram. She's on there.
Yeah, I don't know if she'd get back to me, but I could try that.
You could also go
pictures in it.
You can also go stay in her house that's on her property and bring some cookies with you, and I'm sure that'll be a good way in.
The gardener will give them to her. Yeah, you have to have them like in a big basket with a piece of fabric or something.
It's funny that you mentioned gardener, because my nephew's friend is one of her gardeners, and that was one of.
Well, unfortunately, ladies, it's our time to wrap the show. So, Andrea, one more time, tell people where they can come get cookies from you directly.
www.showstoppercookies.com is the website where you can buy cookies.
Perfect. Well, it was so great to catch up with you again. I'm glad that your business is coming along and you have all these new things established. It's great to see you and hear about what's going on.
Thank you so much to you both. I appreciate it.
We record Missoni and Marshall live every week. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform like iTunes and Stitcher. Thank you to our audio engineer, Lon, and our production assistant, Chelsea. If you would like to be a guest on the show, send us a DM on our Instagram, Missoni and Marshall, and we will be back next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye for now.
You're listening to the Startup Radio Network. Listen, learn, launch. 10% of our gross revenue goes directly to women entrepreneurs in developing countries around the world through Kiva's microfinance program.